Hello, and welcome back to Unbox with Joe, where we talk stories off the cuff on topics we don't run away from. The podcast where we unpack real stories from real people. Whether you're tuning in from work, at home, or abroad, I'm so glad you're here. Today's conversation is extra special because I get to sit down with somebody very close to me, not just as a professional powerhouse, but as a family. My guest today is my sister, Mary Senato. Born and raised in Baguio City, Philippines, Mary migrated to Seattle and eventually found her way to Virginia, where she now works as a clinical supervisor in the field of applied behavior analysis. She holds a Master of Arts in Applied Behavior Analysis from Ball State University, and she's certified as a Board Certified Behavior Analysis or BCBA, among other impressive credentials. Mary has worn many hats, from clinical supervisor to interim clinical director to deputy clinical operations chief. Beyond the title, she's dedicated her career to helping individuals, families, and communities through behavioral health and therapy. Today, we'll be unboxing her journey, her beginnings, challenges as a migrant, her growth in the healthcare field, and the wisdom she's carrying into the future. So let's dive in. Welcome to the show, sis.
Hey, girl.
Thanks for joining us today.
Of course. I'm so glad to be part of your podcast.
The pleasure is all mine. Can you take us back to your childhood in Baguio City? What was it like growing up there?
Growing up in Baguio City was amazing. We've had a lot of neighbors who were so supportive. The life was so simple, and I loved it and I miss it every day.
How is it growing up there?
Growing up there was filled with a lot of family, and I think that's the biggest thing that I miss the most is having family around me.
What do you remember most about home, your family, and the community in Baguio?
Home, most especially, I miss coming home to my dad watching golf and my mom just sitting there and watching her on her phone. I miss the food. I miss going to the jeepney stops or jeepney stations, waiting for the jeep. It was just a really, really simple life.
Do you miss any food that is only available in Baguio City?
Mom, if you're listening to this, close your ears, but I miss isaw, chicken isaw. My mom forbade me to eat chicken isaw, but I love chicken isaw.
She never forbade me and Ella.
She forbade me. She forbade me.
I think we all know who's the golden child now.
Of course, it's moi.
Yeah, don't you miss any of Tita Vic Vic's cooking?
Yes, she makes this vinegar with onions. That's really good. I also love the sauces that she makes for fish balls. And I used to love eating liver. I forgot the name of the food. I think it's
Chicken
called
liver.
chicken. No, there was a food specifically. That's chicken liver. Igado.
Yeah, igado is so good.
Yeah, I miss that. She makes really good igado and dinakdakan when I used to
Oh
eat
yeah.
that, but I don't eat that anymore. Yeah,
So igado is made out of chicken or pork liver, and it's
yeah.
cooked with peas, and it's actually an Ilocano dish. Dinakdakan is made out of pig's ear, sometimes mixed with the brain of the pig or mayonnaise, and pretty much they grill it and they chop it to perfection, kind of like sisig, and you eat it as is, which is really, really good. How was the transition moving to the Philippines to Seattle?
I think the transition from the Philippines to Seattle was one of the hardest parts of my life because all my life, all I knew was friends in the Philippines, family in the Philippines and all of that. And when I officially turned 18 and my dad was like, hey, here's a one-way ticket to Seattle, you're on your own. And you became my roommate, I was like, oh my gosh, I haven't lived with this woman in like 10 years. So it was just like a big culture shock. Like, a woman that I've never seen in the house for 10 years, just having my own roommate, learning how to cook. I would cry every night because I don't know how to boil an egg. You could also vouch for this. Like, I would be cooking almost, you say, cat food because I would put tuna and mayonnaise and pasta together and you would get mad at me. Or I would try to cook pork chops, but it's so undercooked. You know what I mean? I think that was really the worst time of my life, but it made me the person I am today.
For just the context, I'm actually 12 years older than Marilyn, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah,
So
around.
I migrated first in the US before she did. So having that age gap, and when we became roommates, I'm always at work, where I really don't have enough time to teach her to do things at home or to cook, even though I'm a chef by profession. But when I do, I normally go for our go-to food when it comes to just us being together, which is angel hair pasta with salmon and
Mhm.
asparagus. Or we can, if I'm really tired and she's off, we actually go to our
Restaurant.
yeah, we have a favorite Italian restaurant in Renton, Washington, which is Mariana, and we always get their spaghetti bolognese, right?
Yeah. Remember that time when we went to one restaurant and we were wearing like house clothes? It was like I think we went to Moscow's or something. And
Yeah,
we were
little
wearing
Mariano.
pajamas and like hoodies. Like it was so ghetto, but
Yeah, I like, and then we did like a live, I think,
we did a
and
live.
we ordered so much food that time. It's like two homeless people trying to eat for the day because of how everybody's dressed up, because it's in Bellevue too. We went to Bellevue. Bellevue is like the Beverly Hills of Washington State, right?
Washington.
So all the high end people are there, and we're just there wearing our flip flops, our
I was wearing
pajamas,
straight up pajamas. Yeah. It
and we
was
were
so
just like
embarrassing.
eating there, but it was so good. It was so fun. Of course, you're comfortable because that is so fun.
Yeah.
What's the biggest cultural adjustment you faced?
I think the biggest cultural adjustment that I faced was again having to do household things around the house. And this is me being honest, I am very blessed to be able to have Ate Rem and Ate Margie and Ate Rose growing up. And they basically did everything for me, right? So from cooking to cleaning to laundry, all of those things. And it was hard because I had to learn all of that by myself. I had to use YouTube and Google and stuff like that, especially cooking. I didn't have a lot of money to keep eating outside. So it was much easier for me to cook. Did I like I was what I was eating? No, of course not. It was disgusting, but just had to do it.
What led you to eventually settle in Virginia?
It was work, honestly. When I moved to Virginia, this was one of the only states that took my license during that time, which is board certified assistant behavior analyst. And so that's why I moved to Virginia.
I thought because I left and go to Hawaii. Just kidding. But yeah. Virginia, our sister also lives in Virginia too, which is
Yeah.
the other
The
golden
middle other golden child.
the middle older girl, because I was the black sheep. Meh. So, what inspired you to pursue psychology and later applied behavior analysis?
So actually, originally, I did not want to join psychology.
Mm.
I initially wanted to be in tech because if you were like my age, almost Gen Z cusp of millennials, we were into Tumblr, MySpace, Friendsters, and stuff like that. And I really enjoyed coding and making my profile look so pretty. And I really enjoyed that. And then I wasn't the best in math. And so
Mm-hmm.
I realized, IT is not the best thing for me. And I moved on to psychology just to say, because I love, being able to make other people feel good. Right. And yeah, that's kind of how I went to psychology, just went on it because it, it was something that was just, I guessed that it was just for me. And then initially, I wanted to be a licensed marriage and family therapist. Traveled the world after I graduated with my undergrad. And then after that, I came back to Washington and I said, I need a job. So I was just applying to different jobs and landed on applied behavior analysis and fell in love with it ever since.
You've earned multiple degrees and certification from Ball State, Central Washington University, Highline, and now Colorado State University. What was the driving force behind your continuous education?
The driving force behind my continuous education is really just the families that I help. right? I want to be able to learn more about my science. I want to be able to learn more about mental health. That way I can also help other people, especially in our culture and like the Filipino culture. Mental health is still stigmatized, and I want to be able to start changing that in the near future.
How did your early roles, like being a behavioral health technician, prepare you for leadership position like clinical supervisor or interim clinical director?
Yeah, I mean, you can attest to this, right? Being a behavioral technician is one of the hardest jobs I think I've ever had. I think it's because of the fact that I'm dealing with multiple behaviors, from being cussed on, from being punched, kicked, spat on, all of those things. They made me the person I am today, which led me to a lot of patience and also being able to identify and do a lot of clinical judgments.
Yeah, I remember when we used to live together, Mary will actually go home with like bits, bruises, scratches, and it's I feel bad all the time every time I see that because she's taking so much of those kids' frustrations that those kids has no control with,
Mhm,
but at the same time, I've also, asked myself, how long will she keep doing this to herself? Like,
mhm.
you became an outlet for them, a punching bag for them, but you can't be an outlet or a punching bag for the rest of your life, right? Is there any unforgettable experience you had when you were a technician in scenario?
I think one of the biggest ones, because I work with children with autism. I work with children from ages 2 to 21. And I think my biggest go-to, and these are the small things that I never knew that I would ever say in my life, and I do a lot of potty training, right? I had an 8-year-old kid, and never in my life did I ever say, "Good job pooping in the toilet," right? So those were like the small things. For other people, oh my gosh, like you poop every day, right? But for
Mhm.
my specific clients in the specific setting that I work in, that is big, right? Especially if they've been trying to potty train for 8 years, that is something really huge. And I think being able to potty train my clients is one of the biggest things that I really accomplish.
ABA therapy is such a specialized field. Can you share a moment or case that reaffirmed why you chose this path?
Like I said, ABA is a very new science and a new field. We're all evidence based, and our field is constantly changing, ever evolving. That being said, I think the biggest thing that I will always, always, always remember, and it's a part of my core memory, is when one of my clients' first words was Mary.
Oh,
And yeah, I know. It's just like the mom was kind of jealous a little bit, but she was like, "Oh my gosh, like this field is really for me, because imagine working with a 2-year-old kid for just 2 weeks, and the first words that they've ever said in their mouth was my name." That is something that makes my heart melt. So, that was something that I will never ever ever forget.
wow. That is amazing. You've held leadership roles in different organizations: clinical supervisor, interim clinical director, deputy clinical operation chief. How has leadership shaped your perspective on the field of behavioral health?
Leadership has really shaped me a lot in a lot of ways, both personally and professionally. Professionally, I don't let anybody get to me anymore. And also personally, I don't let anybody get to me either. Leadership within behavioral health is really important, because you are not only leading just your therapist, you're also leading families, you're also leading our science. And so, that being said, it has been a tough journey, but it has made me the person I am, both professionally and personally. Being able to advocate for the ethical rights of my learners, being able to provide ethical services for my clients is one of the biggest things that I really, really always need to put in first.
I think what I'm getting with the statement that you just made was anybody can be a leader, right? But in your field, you have to put your heart and soul into it because you're only dealing with the human itself, but the human heart as well and their thinking. So the way you lead actually will impact the clients and family that you have.
Yeah, it not only, we want to be able to make sure that we take care of our clients with dignity.
Of course, that's very important. What are some challenges you've faced in managing teams, and how have you balanced the clinical and administrative side of your work?
I think the biggest challenge that I've ever faced was the fact that I was young,
Mm,
right? I received so many backlash with regards to saying, "Oh, you're only a board certified assistant behavior analyst. I'm a board certified behavior analyst and you're an interim clinical director. That doesn't make sense." Or how do you know how to take care of kids? You don't have any kids. Or how do you know how to run clinics? You're only 23, 24 years old, right? And I think with that, that was the hardest part, right? Being able to take all of that in, but also, again, like I said, that has shaped me into the person that I am today.
I totally feel you on this one because even in my field, I feel the need to constantly explain myself. Why am I, hired on the jobs that was offered to me before, given my age and my sexuality? Because
Hmm.
it's kind of like, oh, you're a chef de cuisine, but you're only 33. How come you have to lead people older than you when people older than you should lead you? And one more thing is like being a woman in a leadership role, it's very challenging.
Hmm.
Especially when you work in a corporate field, they only see you as somebody that will just say yes sir, yes
Yes.
ma'am, and you don't have any say to that. So, can you give us your insight about that?
Yeah. So I am not a yes, ma'am, yes, sir type of person. And for me, my clients comes first. My ethical obligation to my clients is what comes first, right? And within my field, you have like the business people who are, doing all the business stuff and working on like the insurances and stuff like that. They would ask me, "Hey Mary, can we do X, Y, and Z so that we can profit X, Y, and Z?" I said, "No. What's important right now is for me to take care of my families and my clients, and that's one thing that I will never ever ever let go of."
That's powerful. No one can take your dignity away from you is something that a lot of people should hold on, especially being a woman in a leadership field.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if my statistics are correct, but the last time I read, I think it was like only 1.2% of women who are in a leadership role.
Oh,
Isn't
yeah.
that insane?
It is insane. Let me share this. When I used to work at this resort in Maui, I am the only female head chef among all the outlets that's led by males.
Mhm.
And a lot of times you get fun of all the time. They make jokes about you, they make nasty jokes even about you, very offensive ones. I mean, who runs the house? Female. Who's the light of the house? Female. Like a lot of people, especially in my field, who taught them how to cook? Their moms.
Mhm.
And I feel like male dominated industries, they just can't accept the fact that women can actually do better job than them
Mhm. 100% agreed.
and more efficient. And also, women has the heart to actually lead because a lot of men run their job with ego and just like seeing numbers and not actually caring for the people that they work for or they're
Agreed.
working for.
Agreed.
So you've also gained certifications outside ABA, like Scrum Master and Project Management. How do these connect with your role in clinical supervision?
These connect more so with regards to being able to just help me be more organized. I have a lot of clients, I have a lot of therapists that I work with. I have a lot of parents that I do parent collaboration with. I talk to a lot of schools, all of that. I go through a lot of insurances, and it just really helps me to become more organized. And it's just better for myself and for my mental.
As someone who has migrated and built a career in the new country, what were the biggest challenges in establishing yourself professionally in the US?
The biggest challenge was really having family around. When you're so used to coming home to a home cooked meal and your family waiting for you, that was so difficult. That was a big change in my life because when I would come home, it was silence. And I missed the fact that I've had, families constantly asking me, "Oh, did you eat yet? Did you eat yet?" Or, like, "How was your day?" and stuff like that. So, That was the biggest challenge, to be honest, being able to have that emotional support.
Yeah, I definitely agree to that. Especially when you come home in an empty home after a long day of work. On my end, when I was separated from my daughter, while I was working, I come home on an empty home, and all I want is to be with her. As for you, of course, you want to be with family. It's very challenging, you know. But I do know that right now you're coming home with a happy heart.
Mm-hmm.
You come home to your daughter Megan, your fur baby,
For baby.
and your loving partner.
Yes, my loving partner in the home.
So you're building a family that you can come home and can build to and can be really, really proud of. How do your roots as a Filipina from Baguio influence the way you lead and work with clients today?
I don't think it's fair for me to say this, but I've just learned this word recently, and it's called recently learned this word. It's a called Cordilleran Kankanae word, and it's called Kashana, which means all is well. And that has really led me to become the leader that I am today. Because you always have to remember, all is well. Everything is going to be okay. Even if I've had the worst day ever, everything is going to be okay. Kashana.
Kaasiana.
Kasiana, sorry.
Yeah,
See, I told
Kaasiana.
you guys, I just learned the word.
Kasiana is such a powerful word. It's used in a lot of ways, you know, to uplift spirit, to look for the better days, the good side, and not all and problems are always temporary because it's up to you how you actually turn your sorrows into happiness. How does success look like for you at this stage of your journey?
At this point, to be honest, with my 27 years of living, I have exceeded everything that anybody in this field has already achieved. A lot of people really want to do or want to be a clinical director and want to lead different clinics and all of that. For me, I have been there, done that, and all I want to do now is really just to serve more families and clients. And the more I serve more families and clients, the happier I'll be, to be honest. Not only that, I also do want to serve our Filipino people, right? Mental health, autism, depression, anxiety is a stigma still in the Philippines. I want to be able to bring awareness and acceptance mostly to mental health illnesses in the Philippines mostly.
While you were in the Philippines, did you notice anything that, you know, people frown upon but was taken seriously in abroad?
Yeah, I remember back in the Philippines, back in the province that my our grandmother used to live in, Nagilian, La Union, we had a neighbor. I forgot her name, but from what I remember, the diagnosis was Down syndrome. I mean,
Mm,
I wasn't a I wasn't licensed to, but the way like the features and all of that, the behaviors that I've seen, it was Down syndrome, right? And so over there, back in the Philippines, it was just like she's just there, right? I've heard a lot of people, which really broke my heart, now realizing it, a lot of people saying like, oh, just a waste of air and just a waste of like food and stuff like that, or like in the Philippines they say like palamon, and that really hurts me because over here in the United States they really take care of these kinds of conditions, and I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to find ways to do it so that we can start funding or giving fundings to these diagnoses back in the Philippines.
yeah. Or sometimes they would actually tell them in front of the face like you shouldn't even be born if you're gonna turn out to be like that, you right? And for the longest time when you actually open up to somebody older than you saying like, you know, I feel depressed, I feel
Mhm.
having all this anxiety right now, they're really like
It's
you're
all in
not
your head.
yeah, it's all in your head. You're not rich enough to even have this feeling,
Mhm.
you know?
And it's
So
it's sad, right?
it
And
is.
so it's like, what can we do as Filipino people or mga kababayan natin to be able to change that? As mental health, depression, anxiety, all of that is a disease, and if it's left untreated, it will eventually kill you.
Mhm.
I really just want to find a way to be able to change the narrative with regards to mental health acceptance and mental health awareness.
Mental health matters. So before we wrap up, I want to close with the three reflective questions we always ask here on Unbox with Joe. These are all about pausing and looking inwards. Are you ready?
Ready?
If you could speak to your 5-year-old self, what would you say to her?
You're doing great, sweetie. To my 5-year-old self, don't give up. You're doing great and you're so cute.
Eventually, you will learn how to cook.
Yeah, eventually you'll learn how to cook and do laundry.
And it's not gonna taste like cat food anymore.
I still ate it, so come on
Kudos
now.
to you. All right. If you had a mirror in front of you right now, what message would you give to yourself in this season of life?
That is actually such a beautiful question. And the one thing, again, that comes to my mind is that term that I just, found out, which is Kasiana. I've been through so much that only my therapist knows, and myself knows, and God knows. So many tears cried every single night, so many journals written with no context or anything, but everything is going to be okay. And it's just trust in God and Jesus, and you're going to be okay.
If you've unboxed anything in your life, whether it's a realization, experience, or truth, what would it be?
If I were to unbox anything in my life as a Filipina migrant board certified behavior analyst, it would be the layers of resilience, sacrifice, and identity that come with migration and professional growth, right? Unboxing this journey would reveal the story of leaving behind my loving family and familiarity to build new opportunities and carrying with me the values of Kasiyana and Pakikisama. It would also uncover the dual role of both being a professional and the cultural bridge to be able to advocate for autistic individuals and their families, honoring the richness of diversity and lived experiences. Within that box would be both pride and responsibility. The pride of representing Filipinas in a very new and specialized field, and the responsibility of being a voice for inclusion, visibility, and empowerment for all of my learners. Ultimately, what I would unbox is not just a career, but life rooted in healing, advocacy, and the blending of cultures to create a meaningful change.
That's so beautiful. Do you have any message or advice to your fellow kababayans who wants to embark in the journey of psychology and behavior analysis?
Yeah, mga kababayan ko or my fellow countrymen, stay patient, stay driven, and all is going to be well. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Mary, thank you for sharing your story with us. It's inspiring to hear how you've carried your experiences from Baguio to Seattle to Virginia, unboxing not only a career, but also a sense of purpose that continues to impact so many lives. I'm proud not just as your sister, but as someone who gets to share your journey with the world. To our listeners, I hope Mary's story reminds you that no matter where you start, your roots and your drive can take you places you never imagined. This has been another episode of Unboxed with Joe. Until next time, keep unboxing the real you. Thank you, Mary. Thank you, sis.
Let's go!